Marcus's guests all did their best to settle in. Despite being royalty, however, they were completely taken aback by the accommodations Marcus laid out for them. They were not used to this level of comfort or even service. The first dinner was very different from most they ever had. The dining room transformed into a proper banquet hall as opposed to a ship's canteen. All of the guests present, even the guardsmen, had a place at the table, with Marcus electing to stand aside while they discussed potential activities. All of the women on board managed to find their way into the cargo hold where the wardrobe items were kept, with the 4 queens of the kingdoms now sporting some very fetching lingerie and negligee, some of it incomplete as the ladies thought some of it was too much. Marcus remained very annoyed throughout proceedings. The girls, his new apprentices, were also justly clad in skimpy, sexy, or otherwise erotic attire. Saris clad in little more than a pink string bikini. Jacqueline sporting a set of negligee with a corset, ignoring the bra. Ariana wearing proudly a one-piece backlace lingerie set. Tamara the snow elf was clad in a set of lacy white lingerie, including stockings and garter. Finally, the Magister Liliana wore even less than that, choosing to wear little more than a skirt with stockings. Marcus became more annoyed than usual, considering all the ladies seemed to be flirting with him. As dinner ended and the mood became very jovial, Arcturus interrupted. "Commander Marcus, I have finally received identical details from the starship in the system. I have already granted access to the factory's landing platform." "Oh, good. Who are they?" Marcus asked. Arcturus hesitated. "You aren't going to like it." "What is it now?" Marcus threw his hands up in exasperation. "Mechanicus Cathedral ship? A bioroid warship? What is it?" A scholarship, St. Mariah's Girls' Academy. Piloted by one Corsair, Andrea Marie Wilkins. Call sign Darkwalker, Arcturus responded. Marcus's face went blank, all the blood drained from his brain. In a zombie-like state, he walked into the closet nearby and let out a muffled but still ear-splitting scream of frustrated anger that echoed through the ship for a solid minute. "Arcturus! The hell was that?" Taurus asked. "The ship is an all-girls Astro Academy, specifically a long-term boarding school. The pilot of this ship? She's his ex," Arc said, a strange tone of happiness in his voice. "God damn it, why?" Marcus yelled angrily from inside the closet. "Oh, Cookie Bear. Where's my big, strong, manly bear?" A very girly, cutesy female voice suddenly came through the comms. Marcus simply screamed again as the delegation erupted into laughter at Marcus's pet name. "I'm sorry, mistress, but Marcus is currently occupied, screaming at the sky, cursing his luck. Can I take a message?" Arcturus said. The woman on the radio laughed somewhat sadistically, and her voice became more mature, controlled. "Oh, good. It means I'm not late to the party. You requested reinforcements, Arcturus?" "Yes, mistress. We have been unable to set up proper defensive networks or communications lines since the situation began. Would you please take care of the gaps in our system? Transmitting data now," Arc said as Marcus exited the closet. Marcus refused to respond to anything or anyone and marched to the table. He used his combat knife to pop the cork on a bottle of wine and effortlessly drank the entire thing. Right there, right then. He threw it against the wall, shattering it. He smacked his lips. "Well, I got rid of a perfectly good bottle of Chateau du Catouet, and I didn't even get buzzed because I forgot alcohol has no effect on me." "You can't get drunk?" Edward said in shock. "No." Edward put his hand on Marcus's shoulder and said, "I am so sorry." "I know." Arcturus, when all is done, reset the factory to receive the newcomer. "I'm going to go slam my head into a wall somewhere," Marcus said and walked away. "As you wish, sir. Should I get your painkillers?" Arc asked, trying not to chuckle. "It seems there is something a little deeper here. A story of epic proportions. Perhaps you can explain it to us later, Arcturus," Edward asked, a brow furrowed. "With pleasure, sir." "Even my own AI is against me. Was I cruel to kittens in a previous life?" Marcus bellowed as he marched down the hall. "What is it with Marcus and women, exactly?" Saris asked. "He joined the Corsair program to get away from them. He grew up with women essentially swarming him his whole life. This was his chance to understand what it meant to be alone. 64 deaths and 12 years later, here we are. Once again, swarming with legions of beautiful women. It seems he cannot escape his inner demons. It is hilarious," Arcturus started laughing in a strangely sadistic mechanical way. King Valerian raised a brow. Okay. So what, is he crazy or something? Legions of gorgeous women available at all times, and he's upset about it. His father would be beating him over the head right now. May the void rest his soul, Arcturus replied sternly. The mood took a sudden sad turn. His father? Hardcore career military. His entire family really, but his father especially. A veteran of 6 wars, 3 small regional conflicts in which he assassinated an entire diplomatic unit. And he was the last survivor of a massacre during the opening stages of the Shikandi Hive War. Unfortunately, the son followed in the father's footsteps. That boy is the only surviving member of his family at the moment. He's a bit bitter about it, Arcturus explained with a somber tone. So, what's with the women hate then? Jacqueline asked. It isn't hatred or disdain. It's fear. He's afraid he carries his father's bad luck. And that will extend to his family after. We have spoken about this multiple times. His own involvement in regional conflicts. The marbling of a Shikandi hive world. The death of his sister. He may be young, but he has been through hell. And considering recent events, his only real attempt at finding peace has failed, Ark said, using his holographic screens to show some photos of Marcus's late family. What did he really come here to do? The story he told me has changed a bit too. It's suspicious, Saris asked. The initial objective was to use the planet to build a garden world, a paradise planet. Then, when that was done, go through the motions of recovering his relatives' remains and rebury them here. In his words, to bring us back to one place, so we can finally have the peace we fought for. It would appear that plan is on hold, Arcturus said, showing a picture of a coffin in the ship's cargo hold. Oh, wow, Ariana spoke, trying to come up with anything to respond to that. She simply bowed her head in respect, muttering a silent prayer. Well, that certainly puts his behavior into context, doesn't it? Taurus responded as he rubbed the back of his neck. Attention, attention, all personnel to stations. Intruder detected. Unidentified aircraft on approach. Arcturus suddenly sounded alarms, and the paladins jumped from their seats and grabbed their swords. Oh, aye! Did any of you gits bring a blimp with you? One of your mountain elf contraptions is on approach. Marcus's voice pierced through the alarms and sounded across the ship. I'm on my way, Edward yelled, heading to the bridge with his retinue in tow. Shortly thereafter, Edward was on the bridge alongside a clearly distressed Marcus, who was trying to calm his ship's defensive systems. Marcus used his ship to record the intruders and zoom in to identify the occupants, much to Edward's relief and astonishment. Oh my, this is most useful. Now what's this? He said, trying to figure out how the zoom works. Hey, wait a minute. What's with the elf with the purple skin? Marcus said. Purple skin! Edward cried, and shoved Marcus out of the way to look. There it was, crystal clear, a mountain elf ship crewed by a mix of Edward's people and the so-called blood elves. Chief among them, a young girl just barely the same age as Saris, sitting atop a throne on the deck. Care to explain, Edward? Marcus asked, still leaning to the side at Edward's apparent insistence. We thought our blood elf brethren were wiped out, or at the very least too few to count. They must have responded to the moot call. Quick! Let them in! Let them in, Edward begged. Okay. Jeez. Keep your undergarments on. Arcturus, clear the craft for landing, Marcus replied as he kept frantically pushing buttons. Affirmative, sir. Sending drones to establish communications. I must go meet them. I have so many questions, Edward excitedly yelled on his way out the door towards the main hangar. Well, that's interesting, Ark. Did you know about the newcomers? Sort of. These blood elves seem to have a greater connection to this magic thing. The sheer energy radiating from them is scrambling my sensors. We will need to manufacture some parts and upgrade the sensor array. I will get on it immediately, sir, Ark replied with a hint of frustration in his voice. Oh, geez. So flooded with magic, huh? Explains why she's wearing nothing but a crown, Marcus said, and slammed his head into the console in front of him. You have to give it to the men of this world. Their capacity for self-control is absolutely incredible. All right, let's go visit the naked purple one. Marcus got out of his seat and met the party of elves who had already landed in the hangar with the help of a few drones. The kings were beside themselves with glee at the proof that their cousins were still around, and healthy enough to actually present leadership, let alone royalty. A group of around 30 blood elves, including their queen, stood in front of the moot. "My name is Serena Albion. I am the elected queen and first royal of the Eldaris kingdoms. It's a pleasure to meet you all," she said with a sweet, flowery smile and bowed to the others. Marcus appeared. He took one look at her, rolling his eyes. "Oh, my aching head. Hello, I'm Marcus. I'm human." "Hi. Hey. How you doing? Please excuse me, I'm gonna jump off a cliff," he monotone explained as he walked to the hangar's edge and casually walked off it to a sheer half-mile drop. The crowd gasped in shock. A few moments of deathly, horrified silence followed before a drone appeared, carrying Marcus upside down by his feet. "Sir, you cannot be serious." "I thought it would work this time!" "What the hell am I supposed to do here?" Marcus angrily bellowed as he was carried along. "You can't die, sir. We have been through this before. I shall ready a nice hamburger for you." Arcturus sarcastically chuckled to himself. "Better be a big one," Marcus said under his breath. He looked at the new queen one more time. "Put some damn pants on, for God's sake!" he screamed angrily as he disappeared into the ship's bowels. Serena looked at the others quizzically. "Don't worry, we will fully explain everything in due time. Unfortunately, there is not enough space to accommodate your entire retinue. 3 guards, 2 advisors, maybe a family member as well. That is all that is needed. I shall make sure everything is taken care of. But first, are all of you hungry?" The assembled crowd nodded with extreme enthusiasm. "Very well. Arcturus, do you perhaps take out orders?" Taurus asked.